Hey, Crimson Tide fans, welcome into our fourth show of the season of the Alabama Adapted Athletics Coaches Show on BamaAdapted.com. I'm Alex Boothe, joined alongside my partner Spencer Tomsett, and today we're lucky enough to have the Associate Director of Alabama Adapted Athletics here with us, Dr. Margaret Stran. Thank you so much for being here today with us. I know everyone in the building is so excited for Saturday to come. So first, we can just go ahead and get right into it. We wanted to ask you about what all goes into the planning of having a tournament like this here at the arena.
Well, first thing, Alex, is that's not really my job. But the people who do it, there's a lot of work that goes in, from just making sure that we have the right equipment in terms of the live streaming, as you well know, you too, Spencer. Making sure that we've got everything set up upstairs for our VIPs, making sure that we've got our fans coming, ticket sales. So there's a ton of work that goes into it. And then, of course, the obvious, the teams, every day practicing. So it's a whole team that's putting this together, and I really just get to show up and enjoy, which is kind of cool.
So, Doc, you mentioned, we had Dr. Hardon, the Director for Adapted Athletics, on the show about a few weeks ago, and he praised you very highly in the work you do behind the scenes, and you mentioned that at least with the tournament planning, that's not part of your responsibility. So I think it'd be helpful for the fans to know what goes into the responsibilities for the Associate Director of Adapted Athletics.
It's pretty much whatever I want to do.
I love that answer.
And if I don't really want to do it, I just give it to Brent. But actually, I do a lot with grant writing. That's one of my biggest responsibilities. It's part of my job. And so I write anywhere between 3 and 8 grants a year. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues here. But most people don't see that. I'm just sitting at my desk doing that. I do a lot of teaching, which isn't part of the associate director position, but that's something that I do that also helps bring volunteers and other folks into the arena and helps kind of build our fan base, let people know about the program. And then I do work with the leaders on all the teams. So I do Leadership Academy. We meet about once a month. So I'm working with them. And then I also try to advocate for the program with different programs on campus. So I work with the Office of Disability Services. I work with a couple of different committees helping ensure accessibility on campus. So it's a lot of stuff that people don't really see a lot, but that does help both promote the program and make things better for our students and their experience here at the university.
So the ABC Medical Classic this weekend will feature club teams rather than university teams. Can you just explain to the fans the difference between what a club team and a university team is?
Yeah, we get a lot of questions on this. The biggest question is why is the club team co-ed and why are the university teams not? So the big thing to know is there's the National Wheelchair Basketball Association is the governing body for wheelchair basketball. And so within that, there's the collegiate division, obviously, which our athletes play in. And then there's a junior division, and then the adult division. There's women's, and then there's men's. And within the men's, there's divisions 1, 2, and 3, which is a ton. All right, already. So within the men's division, women can play on the men's team. And so the teams that we're going to be playing this weekend it's a collegiate division 2 team this year with both men and women. They're all former Alabama players. And so it's just members of a community who typically have played wheelchair basketball in the past. They want to continue playing. They're not obviously in college anymore. And so they just want to keep playing. And so that's how your club teams are formed and all of that.
Sounds good. That's good information to know, as I know many people, as you said, ask a lot of questions about that and are very confused. I know that you've been a huge part of Alabama Adapted Athletics since the founding of it. What is it like for you to see what it's turned into now?
It's so amazing. When the first question you ask, like what goes into putting on an event, well, part of the reason I say it's not my job is because when we started the program, that's what Brent and I did. We did everything. Like we set the schedule, we drove the vans, we did the laundry. We were literally running the clock if it wasn't our game. We did everything. So it's been such a cool transition to see the staff that we have, that we can say, well, we've got somebody for this, and we've got somebody this, and we got somebody this, and just also seeing our athletes and watching them come to school, graduate and then move on and then come back and play on the alumni team or ABC medical team, as they officially call it. And that's been really cool. And I think the other thing that's really neat is to see how we keep creating opportunities for people. So we started with the women's team, and then it's just as we meet a need, we see, oh, well, now there's a new need. And so that's cool, too, to see that we're not just sitting back and saying, well, this is good enough. No, we're saying, well, this is good, and now we got to keep doing and build this opportunity for these folks.
I'm sure you can think about a lot of dark moments in the laundry room of having to wash some of the most disgusting laundry from athletes in that regard. But to think about that as well with the arena that we're sitting in, of course, named the Strand Hardon Arena, for the work yourself and Dr. Hardon have done to build up this program. Was there any thought in your mind when starting out adapted athletics that you would get to the point of being on this perch, the VIP section, being able to see this arena and host so many incredible events?
No, our goal was to start a women's team. That was it. That's what we were thinking. That was the whole point of what we did, and we started with $5,000. That was our first season. So to be in this $10 million facility, to see what we've done, that was never the dream. The dream was a women's team. But again, it's like I said, once we saw one need that was met, then there was another need that was unmet, and it's like, oh, well, we better look at that, and we better look at that. And so it's never been a like, oh, we're here. It's, okay, well, we've got this, but now we got to do this.
And with the ABC Medical Classic coming up on Saturday, what is your favorite part of being able to host these tournaments here in the arena?
It's just so fun to have everybody come in. Our fans are awesome, and that fan engagement, the way they support our teams, they're so loud. I love it when the swimmers come in, the red men, and it just makes it so fun to have a true college experience. And that's one of the things that we really strive for with our program, is to give our athletes the same experiences as the other athletes on campus. And so when you come in on Saturday and you see that, and it's so competitive and it's so collegiate, it's awesome.
And one of the things, especially because you talk about the fans as well, so we have a new director of fan engagement in Kenzie McMahon, who is actually a Bama alum. She was honored at the Tennessee football game for her accomplishments as an athlete, and you're also a part of those interview processes for hiring on new employees and everything. How exciting has it been in the first few weeks for Kenzie to come on board?
Oh, she's incredible. So when you interview somebody and the interview's over and the people around the table look at each other and say, yep, that's the one, you know you've hit it out of the park. And that was Kenzie. She's incredible. She has done so much already. She's the reason we got the red men here. And just today I had a meeting in my office. I mentioned her name. Her ears perked up. She came in. She just took that idea, ran with it, again, helping to bring in more fans, to create more awareness on campus, create those connections. And yeah, it's been awesome. And the fact that she's only been here a few weeks, she fits in so well. It's just been amazing. I'm like, wait, you've only been here 3 weeks? Because it feels like you've been here forever. Not because that's a bad thing, because she fits in so well, and she does so well at her job.
Yeah, and it just seems like this department has a knack of continuing to find amazing people to add to the department each and every year.
Well, look at you two.
Well, I don't know about that, but we appreciate it. I do want to ask, because I know that one of Dr. Hardon's goals that he has mentioned, and I know you're pivotal in this as well, is by 2025, the goal for adapted athletics was to add para-track and field, para-tennis, and para-swimming, to add those to the program as well. So we're already at that point with para-track and field, and they've started securing practice facilities. Para-tennis is started before Tide tip-off and doing so well. How exciting is it to be working in adaptive athletics during this time of growth?
Well, it's awesome. And I want to take a little side note here real quick to talk about the way we talk about adapted sports, because I think it also can be confusing. People are like, why is it para-track and field and wheelchair basketball? And so if you think about it as adapted athletics or Paralympics is the umbrella, and then within that you have different names for sports. So for sports where you use a wheelchair, and that's for competition, you don't have to use one all the time, but if that's everybody's competing in a wheelchair, then it's called wheelchair basketball or wheelchair tennis or wheelchair rugby. For sports that are more inclusive in terms of they might have athletes in different divisions, so they might not all use a wheelchair. That's where you get para track and field,
Yep.
or para badminton, or para rowing. So again, for our listeners who are like, why are all these names? So all of that to say, it's so exciting, and the fact that we have already started with para track and field is so exciting. The fact that we have so many people, we 6 people right now. We get calls. It feels like every day. It's not, but it feels, it's very regular with folks saying, hey, I heard you have track and field. I really want to be a part. What are you doing? And it's incredible. It's like I was saying before, right? We knew there was a need, and we started it, and now we're like, wow, yeah, there's really a need, and we're really glad that we're helping to fill that.
Is that your favorite part of the process because I know recently we've had potential athletes coming into the arena and touring and meeting with everyone. Is that one of your favorite parts of being able to just meet more potential future student athletes within the program?
It's so fun, and it's so fun to show off what we have here, to really show how the University of Alabama supports and embraces our adapted athletics program, because nobody else, let's be honest, does it as good as we do.
Right.
I know that's, but it's true. And so to be able to bring the athletes in and to show them that, it's just incredible. And it reflects the value that we have here for these athletes, and they deserve every last bit of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the time we have on the Coaches Show here today. Thank you so much for joining us again, Dr. Strand. We had a great time here on the show today. And thank you, Crimson Tide fans, for tuning in wherever you may be watching. Be sure to follow us on our social medias at Bama Adapted on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, where you're watching right now. Also, we'd like to thank Honey Stinger, Jalapenos, Hollister, ABC Medical, and many others for sponsoring Alabama Adapted Athletics. We couldn't do what we do without your sponsorship. Be sure to be on the lookout for our next Coaches Show, which will be live from Jalapenos in Northport on November 8th, Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We're very excited to bring our first ever live Coaches Show from Jalapenos. We'd like to thank Jalapenos for allowing us to do that as well. Be sure to get out to Jalapenos that night, Wednesday, November 8th at 6 o'clock at the Northport location. And until then, we'll talk to you later. Thank you, and Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.